Hello, my name is Lawrence Aylward, and I'm the Editor-in-Chief of Store Brands. I'm here again with Greg Pullman, who spent 40 years in the store brand industry and is the author of a new ebook, Thinking Store Brands First, which provides best practice guidelines for retailers and wholesalers to enhance customer loyalty and increase operating profits. Ensemble IQ, the parent company of Store Brands, is publishing the ebook and will make it available on its website as well as the websites of Progressive Grocer and Retail Leader, Store Brands' sister publications. This is the second of 3 videos we are producing on the book to give readers insight on what they can gain from it. And Greg is going to answer a few questions about store brand profitability, a subject that is addressed in depth in the book. Greg, what is more important for retailers and wholesalers? Growing sales or growing profits?
Well, Larry, that's a great question. These are premises that have been around in the industry for many years. Some would say that top-line sales growth is most important to company success. On the other hand, many would say bottom-line profit is most important to company success. So which is it? Is it growing sales or growing profits? Frankly, I think both are very important. My experience says that growing sales of your most profitable products, store brands, will create optimum results. If you think about it, you don't take top-line sales to the bank, you take profits to the bank. If you think about value chains such as Aldi or Trader Joe's or Save-A-Lot or the new player in our country now is Lidl, they generate a very high percentage of their sales by selling mainly store brand products. But if you think about supermarket operators, drugstore operators, club store operators, mass retailers, dollar store operators, they sell both national brands and they sell store brands. So understanding the profit contribution from selling store brands is critically important, especially for companies who sell both national brands and store brands.
Greg, what do retailers and wholesalers need to know to increase store brand penetration?
Well, I think understanding profitability is certainly critical. I'd like to talk for just a little bit about Chapter 2 in the book, which is the power of 1%. In the late 90s, we developed calculations to determine the dollar profit differences between store brands and national brands. We were fortunate, I led this project team, and we had 5 selected full-service supermarket retailers who shared with us their profitability, their margins on all products within their stores. So then we could ferret out the profitability that came from store brands versus those that came from national or regional brands. There'll be some slides in this video that readers can look at, but the dollar profit on a dollar's worth of sale across all products for store brands we found to be about 28 cents on a dollar's worth of sale. Whereas on the national brands, the dollar profit was 17 cents. That also included incentives from national brand ad dollars, slotting fees, those types of incentives, volume incentives. So we factored it all in and we ended up with store brands having an 11 penny per dollar of sale profit advantage. And that's significant when you're looking at the sales of your company and what it means to your bottom line profits. In order to make these calculations, we had to take a supermarket and back out those departments that are not affected by store brand sales. So departments like greeting cards, floral, fresh seafood, possibly in the time period that we did this analysis, we took out fresh meat, we took out produce, service, deli, and we backed the sales base down from, let's say, $1 billion retailer. We determined about 35% of the sales of that retailer were not affected by store brands, leaving that sales base at about 65%. So from there, to get the sales on a level playing field, we determined what the average price gap or price spread is between national brands and store brands. And we determined that to be at 15%. So we took that sales base and brought it down even lower. It ended up being at about 550 million sales base on $1 billion retailer. So then we could understand what 1% if we grow that sales base and those sales increases come from store brands, not all other brands, 1% increase would be $5.5 million on a $550 million business. Well, then if you apply the 11 penny profit advantage to that $5,500,000, that means you're dropping about over $600,000 in incremental profit to the bottom line of the retailer or wholesaler's business. So where it gets real interesting from there is, let's take a retailer that would have store brand penetration of 16%. If you took their store brand penetration up to, say, 21%, you would be putting $2.4 million of incremental profit to the bottom line by growing your penetration in just 5 percentage points. Now, if you were to take it up to, say, 30%, which is almost double, you'd be putting over $8 million of operating profits to the bottom line by growing store brand penetration in those 1% increments. So the power of 1% is chapter 2 in the book. There's some key learnings that I think the readers will enjoy in this chapter. Certainly, again, to reinforce that retailers and wholesalers must understand the profit metrics in their respective organizations, because they will differ from company to company. The product availability in store brands has broadened today from when we originally did this study. But I've learned that many retailers 20 years later are still using these calculations to better understand the profitability that store brands brings to their organization. And the cool thing about the power of 1% model and calculations, they can be applied to the total store, which we've just talked about, or to specific departments. You could do it on frozen food, or you could do these calculations on the dairy department, or on grocery edibles, or HBC, or general merchandise. But I think the key here is that once the profit metrics are understood, then the retailer and wholesaler can set really intelligent goals to grow their store brand sales and profits.
Right.
And last is just the importance of store brands on EBITDA profits, earnings before income tax and appreciation. I think sometimes retailers and wholesalers get hung up in allowing trade dollars from national brands to drive their business, rather than really focusing in on the profitability that store brands create for them. And I think once retailers and wholesalers let profits become the driver, I think they're going to want to do more with store brands in their stores than maybe they ever have in the past.
Excellent insights, Greg. Thank you very much. We'll look forward to hearing from you again in the third video. And in that video, Greg's going to discuss how retailers and wholesalers can go about executing the right business plans for their store brand programs. If you'd like to order the book, you can find the link to do so on the cover pages at storebrands.com, progressivegrocer.com, and retailleader.com.